first, Max Verstappen finishing second, and Lando Norris finishing third. And look at what has happened so far. We should know that it has been a difficult period, a difficult season for Lewis Hamilton.
Definitely,
right there,
definitely.
In this season. Looking at where he is, Lewis Hamilton is 8th. And you look at Max Verstappen of Red Bull, McLaren, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc of Ferrari, big top 3 drivers. They've been winning races back to back, which shows that some other teams are getting better than other big teams. But since 2021, it has been a difficult period for Lewis Hamilton. But now we can say he has gotten it right.
Okay,
let's listen to Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a listen at his reaction after winning that particular event.
I think that might be the most emotional ending to a race that I think I've probably ever had. I really wasn't expecting it to, great race, but when I came across the line, the last 7 laps felt so long, and I could see the guys behind me, and I saw Max starting to catch, and when I came across the line, I was just in such disbelief because it'd been such a long time, since 2021 was such a hit, and it's taken so long to get back to here, and there was so many moments where I didn't think it would ever happen again, and but I just tried to continue to believe and just keep chasing.
Okay, the voice of Lewis Hamilton there. That's his post-event reaction to his winning.
And if you hear what he said he never thought it could happen again. He never thought he could win again. And, if you've been trying something for the past 2.5 years and it's not happening, and, you just came out like a shining star, not expected. You saw what happened. But the thing now is moving to Hungarian Grand Prix going down on the 19th to the 21st of July. You need to also see a hungry Lewis Hamilton. A Hamilton that is ready to win titles, that is ready to win everywhere. That is it. And remember, Lewis Hamilton is going to another team, which is going to be Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton is going to Ferrari next season, so he needs to finish well this season. And remember, in sports, you're as good as your last game.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's just
definitely. Okay, let's move away from that. Let's just take us up to speed with what's happening in tennis, in the world of tennis now.
Disappointing outing for some tennis stars at Wimbledon. Difficult one. You see the likes of Emma Raducanu, Coco Gauff, missing out. And if you look at Coco Gauff, became the latest high-profile seed to suffer a shock exit in the women's singles at Wimbledon as she lost to fellow American Emma Navarro. Second seed Gauff was the highest-ranked player remaining following Iga Swiatek's surprise defeat by Yulia Putintseva on Saturday. And if you look at what has been happening so far, most especially expect shockers in the women's singles, that is the WTA. Nobody saw that coming for Emma Raducanu, but a lot of people expected more to happen. If you look at how she lost 4-6, 3-6, which means she's tired compared to other tennis stars and other tennis results in the WTA yesterday, where they went into the third set. Emma Raducanu, who lost 2-6, 7-5, 2-6, meaning she won a set out of 2. Paulo Batosa, who lost against Bruna Vekic, 2-6, 6-1, 4-6. Madison Keys, who lost 3-6, 7-6, 5-5. Well, Madison Keys got injured. The reason she lost that one. But let's listen to Coco Gauff. What happened to her if she can still get better in another tournament?
All right.
Yeah, it was a tough match. She played well, and I think she played great tennis. And there was moments in the first set that I had chances to capitalize on the break, but a tough match. I thought she did well staying on the baseline. I know how she plays just from playing her before, but she really did well in timing my hard balls to her, which isn't easy to do on grass. And I think, and also she hit a lot of extra balls back, like slices, mixing it up. So overall, I think she played well, and I think she returned well today, especially on my second serve. Yeah, I think we had a game plan going in, and I felt that it wasn't working. So, and I don't always ask for advice on the box, but today was one of those rare moments where I felt like I didn't have solutions, and I don't want to say I didn't have any, because I think I'm a capable player of coming up with some, but I think today mentally, I think I was a lot going on, and I felt like I wanted more direction from the box.
Okay, the voice of Coco Gauff there.
Well, you heard Coco Gauff. Now you can see how mature Coco Gauff is compared to 3 years ago. How she always cry after losing tournaments, most especially Grand Slam. Wimbledon is difficult for her. Looking at other,
young Striker 9, you said something earlier on. You said she's tired. When you say tired, what do you mean by being tired? Do we talk about the age or appearances over the years?
Not really about the age, but you look at results. And you look at someone that overpowers you. Kokori go up against Emma Navarro. If you look at the other results, when you can stretch other players, stretch them from, instead of losing 2 sets, you go into third, fourth set. Games are tough when you get to that part. But when you have someone overpowers, it shows that either psychologically you're tired or you continue a lot at Wimbledon continues for you. So she lost in 2 straight sets. 4-6, 3-6. Looking at other players who went into third set. It shows how Corey Club, how difficult the game was for her yesterday. I'm talking about the ATP, talking about the men.
The men now.
For Carlos Alcaraz, that's the man I'm supposed to be. And the Spaniard, he keeps getting better, although he had a difficult game yesterday. But he won 6-3, 6-4, 1-6, 7-5, just 1 set out of 4. And there were Carlos Alcaraz alongside Yannick Sinner, Daniel Medvedev, Tommy Paul, all won their games yesterday. Now, talking about Carlos Alcaraz, this is a man who is more focused. And remember, this is a way to also say he's going to Olympics. He will be teaming up with Rafael Nadal at the tennis event at the Olympics. But if we can get the sound of Carlos Alcaraz, let's listen to how he also felt following the victory yesterday.
Okay, let's listen to Carlos Alcaraz after the victory yesterday.
Well, I think playing lefty is always tricky. It doesn't matter the surface. At Queens, I played my first match against a lefty one, so I guess that I learned a little bit from that match. Yeah, those slices in the advantage side, it was really difficult to catch it. But I feel great playing today. I think I played a really high level. I think playing a lefty, I try not to think about it and try to put my own game. I just try to fight every ball, every point. Doesn't matter, which part of the court I am. I just try to run and giving myself the chance to still alive in the point.
Okay, Carlos Alcaraz there, young striker now.
Yeah, that was Carlos Alcaraz, and this is a man who is more focused. Remember, he also got into at some point of the season. And Wimbledon, he knows how to play at Wimbledon. But hey, you just have to look at the other top guys who are there. You see Novak Djokovic, who will be in action today. You have the likes of Lorenzo Musetti, who will be in action today. Same as Alexander Zverev. But let's look at games going down today at the Wimbledon, at the ATP category. Okay. Lorenzo Musetti will take on Giovanni Mpech by 11 o'clock. And by 1 o'clock, we have out of field against Alex de Minaur, still of 3, taking on Alexander Zverev by 3 o'clock. And by 5 o'clock, Novak Djokovic will be up against Alcaraz. And in the WTA, Elena Rybakina will take on Anna Kalinskaya. Elena Svitolina by 2 o'clock will take on Zhixuan Wang. Yulia Putintseva will take on Jelena Ostapenko. And Daniel Collins will take on Barbara Krejcikova. So those are the pictures of games at the Wimbledon today. And tomorrow, Carlos Alcaraz, who won his game yesterday, will be taking on Tommy Paul by 11 o'clock. Yannick Sinner taking on Daniel Medvedev. So we still have other top guys at the Wimbledon in the male category of that tournament. So nobody should sleep, lose. That is what it looks like right there in tennis.
Okay, it's still Kickoff Sports with Young Striker 9 and Laffy. Let's go on this short break. We'll be right back after this timeout.
Okay.
Let's be dynamic with your morning update and make it better with Kickoff Sports Show, where we will be serving you all the latest from tennis, basketball, Formula One, football, exclusive interviews, and lots more.
Hamilton going for the move on Alonso at the 130. These two great side by side.
Martinelli! Oh yes! Gabriel Martinelli is back with a bang! Headlines from Nigerian newspapers, behind the papers from the stand, analysis on burning trending issues across Nigeria and beyond.
The problem is not politics or tribalism, but corruption.
The governors will say, give us our own slot. The chairman of local government will say, give us our own slot. Who does those slots go to?
To your friend, they arrest you, they detain you, and they release you. That's all.
Hello, my name is Oladapo Okunubi.
My name is Victory Onyedikachi.
My name is Adedamola Lafenwa.
And my name is Favor Oloruntola.
Join us weekdays 9 a.m. on your Remedy Radio dial, Solutions 939 FM.
Here, we make it different from the norm.
All right, still kick off sports with Oladapo Okunubi, Young Striker 9 with Laffy. And Oladapo is joining us virtually this morning. Dapo.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the second half of the kick-off sports.
I'm enjoying this.
Okay. All right. We had the quarterfinal matches over the weekend.
Yeah.
We had the matches between England and Switzerland, and we also had the Netherlands and Turkey. Now, were there surprises at those matches?
Well, for me, I don't think there were surprises. Talking about the results that came in the quarterfinal of the Euros. I mean, talking about England beating Switzerland by penalty shootout, Netherlands beating Turkey 2-1. But what we just need to understand, one, let me first talk about England and Switzerland.
Yeah.
If not Akonji, who lost the first sports kit for Switzerland, maybe England might have gone home. But there's also experience. I mean, experience is key. You don't buy it.
Definitely.
Look at what happened to Bukayo Saka and co at the last Euros, where the likes of Jude Bellingham, Bukayo Saka lost sports kit for England against Italy in the final at the Wembley Stadium. But you look at what Saka came up with. It's like some teams are just, growing into the tournament. It's just unfortunate that Belgium is out. Yes, I supported Belgium, but that's my But for England, they proved that they are in this tournament. For Coach Gary Southgate, he knew the kind of players he could start. You don't force a coach to bring in a player. He saw them at the training. He saw few hours to the game. He knew what he wanted, and he knew the players. I mean, look at the Ivan Toney, who doesn't look at the ball before playing the
that sports kick. It was a beautiful one.
So, and you look at few minutes to end of the extra time. Look at the players that came on board. These are players who know how to, play sports kick. And for Bukayo Saka, he was a man who had already forgotten that devil behind him that made him to lose the penalty, the spot kick for England at the Wembley Stadium. And remember, it's now going to be a tough one going into the semi-final. And they're playing against Netherlands. But first, let's listen to Bukayo Saka and Arsenal man. Remember, I told you that why are you not supporting England? Why are you supporting France at the Euros? I mean, Bukayo Saka plays for Arsenal, but I don't know why.
Actually, that particular day when we're talking about, we were to have France versus Belgium. And I know that you're always pitching your tent with Belgium, so I decided to stay with France that particular day. That was why I supported France that day. But I will always support England because my boy is there. Bukayo Saka is always there. Okay, let's listen to Saka after the match.
Yeah, I think obviously, well, for myself, I believe we have some of the best takers in the Premier League and in the world. So we've talked about it before. If it did come to penalties, we would be pretty confident. And yeah, I'm happy we showed that today. We scored 5 out of 5, and we're through to the next round. Yeah, I think for me, it's something I embrace. You can fail once, but you have a choice whether you put yourself in that position or not again. And I'm a guy who's going to put myself in that position. And yeah, I believed in myself. And when I saw the ball hit the net, I was a very happy man.
Okay, the voice of Favour Oloruntola's baby boy there, Bukayo Saka.
Yeah, Saka, my baby. And I also checked the social media page while Favour was hailing Bukayo Saka and the like. But give it to England. When you criticize them, that is the time you see them wake up and give the fans what they don't expect from them. Let's talk about Netherlands that won 2-1 against Turkey. I just feel for Turkey, they're underrated. And they feel like, because they scored very early, yes, they could hold on to the game. Unfortunately for the Turkish national team coach, he should have made a lot of substitutions going into the second half of that game. And looking at how the game went, when you are leading, you look at how to defend. That is why people say Jose Mourinho go past the boss. That is why they call Mourinho the pass the boss. I mean, Akatin scored in the 35th minute. And going into the second half of this game, I mean, Turkey did not look like they wanted to score until there was an equalizer. And guess what? Netherlands went on. I mean, look at the own goal scored by Mordor of Turkey.
Yeah.
So I feel Turkey would have learned their lesson. They move on, and we'll see what happens in the the semi-final of the tournament. If you look at the semi-final of this tournament, a lot of people will be saying, yes, it's going to be a mouth-watering encounter. However, for Spain fans,
yeah,
I don't know who will be putting your money on. Spain has been fantastic. They are 100%. They've never drawn a game or even gone into a penalty shootout like England. You understand?
Okay.
Or like France.
But young striker, before we go into the semi-final matches, fixtures, I personally felt Turkey should be given that flowers they deserve, because personally I didn't see them scaling through to the quarterfinal stage.
Well, if you say they need to get their pass, what of Georgia? Georgia got to the round of 16 on the most underrated team in the group that has Portugal. They defeated Portugal going to the round of 16. But like you said, they deserve the flowers. And if you look at the teams in the quarterfinal round, all the teams that got to the quarterfinal round deserve that flower. Unfortunately, most of them either they lost that confidence, maybe due to the hype given to their opponents, that the likes of England. But Turkey, like you said, deserve the flowers. But in a game of football, you don't say never until the final whistle.
Okay. So let's talk about the semi-final fixtures now.
Yeah, talking about the semi-final, Spain will be missing the services of a lot of players, either due to injury or due to yellow cards. Cavani was recorded in their game in the quarterfinal round. And you look at France, there are updates that is coming from the French national team camp that for Antoine Griezmann may be dropped from that team. Looking at the first 11, maybe we're coming from the bench. And look at why Didier Deschamps also had to allow Mbappe out of the game, while they were also going to play penalty against Portugal. Didier Deschamps understands the team. He knows the kind of players that can give him the result if, by adventure, they go into penalty shootout.
Okay.
You understand? So that is for France going to the semi-final. But I see a difficult one here. I see tears coming out of Kylian Mbappe's eyes if they lose that game against Spain. And for Spain, for the coach of the side, De La Fuente, has been fantastic. Having a crop of players, young players, the likes of Lamine Yamal and the like. These guys are wonderful. They know what they want. And look at all these players. Most of them play in Spain, aside Cucurella, who plays for Chelsea. But this is going to be a mouth-watering encounter on Tuesday in the first semi-final of the Euro 2024.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
For England, Netherlands, well, I'm going to see a lot of fights in this game, because Netherlands England is going to be a physical one. Look at most of the players. Cody Gakpo is one of the players with the highest goal scored at the Euros. Virgil van Dijk, a man who plays for Liverpool. Georgino Wijnaldum, who has played in England before. Nathan Ake, who plays for Manchester City. And you're playing against the likes of Opama, Phil Foden, Harry Kane, and Kai Walker. So they're having other Manchester City players against Manchester City players, Liverpool players against Liverpool players. I mean, look at some of the players who also came on board to play penalty. It's just going to be a tough one. Looking at the semi-final clash between Netherlands and England. But if I'm going to put my money on any team, I'll put my money in my pocket.
Okay, I was going to ask you as a wrap up this segment that this semi-final fixtures, which two teams do you feel will be making it out to the finals eventually?
If I'm going to see, they always say if wishes were horses, beggars were right. Right?
Yeah.
So I am expecting to see England in the final.
England what?
England, Spain.
England, Spain.
Yes, that's my expectation. My prediction as well.
Okay.
Because I feel Netherlands may bottle it against England. For Ronald Koeman, yes, he understands some players in England. Yes, he has managed some players in the English Premier League. But I mean, it's going to be a tough one. This is the national team and not about the club side. But it is also more of what will be played in 90 minutes or 120 minutes if it's going to end up into penalty shootout.
Okay. All right, Young Striker 9, it's been fun doing this for the first time with you on the program. Thank you for putting me on the very hot spot on a Monday morning.
I hope you will not put me on the
I will do my own back. Don't worry. Okay, it's fun doing this with you. All right, thank you very much. Okay, that was Young Striker 9 there. Oladapo Kunobi kicking off sports from where he is at the moment. In a short while, we shall be flipping to the second part of AM Update. That is from the daily segment where we get to take you through the trending stories in some of today's national dailies. My name is Adedamola Lafenwa. I'll be joined by Comrade Ayodeji Ajishope in a jiffy. Stay tuned. It's Solutions 93.9 FM. Good morning.
James Bond, oh my God. People think say na grace I be na kuno ti mo gbe to je ko ri mi ya were. Feel like I just away kalakuta. I dey get to possess me, let me she mercy, egbe mi gently, Allah protect me yo. Emi rora je mi se akoba, emi ba pa mi na. Oya, o ti di ọmọ kata o, o se pe ko se kwanta o, ta o, use your mind over matter o. I give them different pattern, it is Latin. Give body to my gakpa o, we up me kele mi bandu, go my shaka o. Energy ojinaka o, energy. Bo mi jiggy. Ojigbiti, shigiti, I mean, CBD. Oh yeah, moonlight baker. How many if you don't drop shenka? Baby bend down, it's a Beckham. If your guy dollar, me shenka. Oh, me tight, it's a bra. Go malaba, oh the back roba. Ja, Elijah, but it's ja, but it's low, metaverse, but it's para day with the lamba. Oh yeah, bra, give with the crack. If it's not money, what are you saying, bra? Yo, we know they drum for the gram. Flow chop for my head, big girl with the gram. Yeah, go see the young catao. Go see where go see quantao. Ta. Use your mind over matao. I give them different pattern. It is Latin. Give body to my gapao. We all me kill the bandu. Go my shatao. Energy ojinakao. Energy. Bo mi jiggy. Ojigbiti, shigiti, I mean, CBD, my life fresh and so way. Booty and van on the way, Mr. Boss way. You know me, I know the play. You don't know talk money, no my baby. Gigi, Omaru, Koma baby. Fashion ko soludi, owó ti dé. Dapa ti ru bébé ya. Ó ti di ọmọ kata o. Ṣé pé kò sí pátá o. Tata o. It's your mind over matter o. Give them different pattern. This is Satan. Your body go ma dapa o. We on me kere bi band. Go ma shatter o. Energy or the naka o. Energy. Ó ti di ọmọ kata o. Ṣé pé kò sí pátá o. Tata o. It's your mind over matter o. Give them different pattern. This is Satan. Your body go ma dapa o. We on me kere bi band. Go ma shatter o. Energy or the naka o. Energy.
News, sports, entertainment, top 100 music on your Remedy Radio dial. Solutions 93.9.
Do not touch that dial.
All right, studio time check 9:32, still on 939 Solutions, 93.9 FM, and we flip into the next, or to the second side of AM Update. This is from the daily segment where we get to take you through the trending stories in some of today's national dailies. Kes, I need you in the studio right now, please. Come over, Ladi Martins. I also need you in the studio right now. Okay, we have quite a number of newspapers to dissect this morning. I've got the Vanguard newspaper, I've got the Punch newspaper, I've got the Nigerian Tribune, and of course I've got the Nation newspaper. This beautiful Monday morning, the 8th day in the month of July 2024. Comrade Ayodele Ajishokwe, it's nice to have you in the studio with us this morning.
It's a pleasure to be on this platform, Comrade.
I mean, looking at the date this morning, 8th of July, I mean, this 2024 is not smiling at all. I mean, it's just moving on the run. We were saying Happy New Month just a while ago, and we already chopping.
Yeah, we are.
We've already chopped 7 days out of the July.
Well, for those who are idle, they count the minutes and the hours. So for it, that means you are not idle.
Okay, well, that's true. Okay, looking at the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning, starting with the cap headlines, I have this one saying, Insecurity, Tinubu tasks ECOWAS member states on financial commitments. That story is found on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Why CBN insists on another recapitalization, Cardoso. That story is found on page 5. We'll talk more on this particular story in the course of the program. Looking at the biggest story on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. I hate to sound like a prophet of negativity, but you know I've been saying this every now and then because we keep hearing stories of companies folding up, companies struggling to survive in the economy at the moment. You know, there was a particular time we talked about, it was Favor and I that were on the show together, and where we had a kind of a highlight of different industries that are suffering from these economic challenges. And it was stated in that particular data that we saw that it was only the brewing industry that was still thriving because no matter how hard, people were still getting money to enjoy themselves.
No, not that people are still getting money. But the fact is that people tend, just check it out. Look at the history of South Africa.
Okay.
The South Africans, the entire Southern African region, they drink a lot. And you know their history, their colonial history. And that means they drown their sorrows in
okay. I get the
alcohol.
point where you're coming from now. So at least to wipe away the sorrow, to forget
Yeah,
the sorrow.
I mean,
Okay.
to suspend it, so to say,
suspend it, so
because
to
you
say.
wake up in the morning to the same challenges.
But unfortunately, the brewing industry is crying out now. Looking at the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, brewing industry choking over high cost of raw materials.
Yes. If you go back a little into time, I remember in the days of Babangida, when they had to do the backward integration, when they could no longer, import some of these, inputs, especially I think it was barley then.
Barley, yeah.
Yeah, so they had to do some, backward integration and all of that. Yes, it is still the same, but now the cost of machinery, it's an input.
Let me read out the riders under that. Expenses rise 113% to 188 billion naira. Importation alternative stifled by high exchange rate.
Let them do backward integration.
Top brewers borrow 812 billion naira to survive. Loan repayment cost rises 109%.
That is dangerous.
Okay. Oh, it's actually 191%.
Yeah,
Loan repayment cost rises 191%. And last one
That
says
is dangerous.
losses escalate by 1,034%. That is really outrageous.
That is. I remember I used to have, or let me say we used to have shares of Guinness, and the value of the shares at a point came down from 300 naira to about 100 naira.
All right, Comrade, we'll still talk more on that. Let me just take out the headlines
Okay.
first. Okay, court orders ex-minister to account for 729 billion naira. Kidnapped journalist, police comb forest as NUJ demands release. Looking at other newspapers, I have the Nigerian Tribune right before me now. Tinubu re-elected ECOWAS chairman appeals to member states on finance. ECOWAS may suspend funded projects in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. 4 months withheld salaries. Nasu Sano to begin nationwide protest. July 18. That story is found on page 30 of the Nigerian Tribune. Gunmen abduct 2 journalist family members in Kaduna. Page 26. NUJ condemns abduction. Moving away from that and still talking about insurgency and insecurity. How insurgency banditry worsen food prices. And riders, bandits chase away farmers. Impose tax in Kaduna. Cattle rustling rampant. Farmers abandon lands in Plateau. Niger, Benue, Sokoto. Cultivation of rice, beans, onions, millet, watermelon, tomatoes, Guinea corn mostly affected in Plateau, Benue, others. We will take decisive steps against destructive herdsmen, Ekiti governor. And that last one says, what security forces are doing? Police. We'll talk more on this.
Oh, certainly we need to do.
Okay, another one. $1 trillion economy. Analysts warn. Okay, analysts warn against ASO liability risk. CJN to swear in 12 as FCT High Court judges by July 10. Student loan, we have received data from only state-owned tertiary institutions. Let me take stories from the Punch newspaper. Okay, this is talking about fuel scarcity. Fuel scarcity looms as depots raise petrol price to 720 naira per litre. Filling stations raise petrol price as depots now sell 720 naira per litre, says Ipman. NNPC officials storm Lagos depots, ask marketers to prioritize Abuja. Budget FG releases 1.2 trillion naira for capital project. ECOWAS, Senegal, Togo presidents to woo Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. And let me take 2 more stories from the front page of the. Okay. Let's, because of our time, let's go into the stories proper now because we have a little time. It's 9:39 on Solutions 93.9 FM. Let's take a first shot at the brewing industry choking over high cost of raw materials.
Yes, the brewing industry. I remember very, very vividly that in the days of Babangida, the same scenario unfolded. That was when we went IMF, and of course, one of the issues was the devaluation of the naira that came with the IMF conditionalities. So it's the same scenario over again, and you have seen. Well, of course, we have also seen that the foreign partners in Guinness, they've already taken out their investments, and some Asians, I think they are Asians, have already come into the space. There are still foreign partners involved with the Nigerian breweries. Of course, even all our breweries know that. I mean, they have, even the locally owned ones. I remember the one in Elisha used to be fully owned, but at a point in time, they had to bring in technical partners and all of that. That was, for funding purposes, and I think it improved their lot. So, now, you see, backward integration is key in this regard. Why do we have to wait? You understand? Why do we have to wait? The things we do here, we purportedly produce. We talked about pharmaceuticals last week.
Okay.
I remember Professor Adeyeye telling us live on television that what exactly are we producing here? That all we do is, bind, I think it is corn-based. The binding process is corn-based. That's all we do there, and packaging. And we purport to manufacture drugs here. Everything is imported. Well, tell us what is it that we purportedly manufacture here in this country that is probably 60%.
But who do we blame?
Who do we blame? Well, the industry. Industry. What are they doing? Why are they? For God's sake, you have been in... Look at milk, for instance. Let us take a look at milk. The biggest milk is a packaging company. They bring in everything. Now, why is it they bring it from Netherlands? They bring in everything. They package it here. And they call them the biggest milk company in Nigeria. What are they doing? Packaging alone. And they've been in this country for 70 years. Why has, policy not compelled them that after 20 years, you have to start breeding? You understand? Yes, you can breed your own. Or just, look, I grew up in this Ibadan to drink fresh milk every day. Where Olubadan Stadium is, at the gate of the High Court, Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources, they had a kiosk there, and the green kiosk like the MANR. What do we have now? They have turned it into an estate, a residential estate. So they had, of course, all these Malu cows that they drive from Futajalon Islands to Lagos. It's not going to produce, the quantity, the yield, that will be in good commercial quantity. So why is there no policy? How can a company be in Nigeria for 70-something years and they import everything that they use? You understand? They don't care. They will just pass the cost. You know what has happened to the cost of powder milk and all of that.
Okay, now let's look at the brewing industry.
Yes.
One of their major raw materials is barley.
Yeah.
Now, growing barley, looking at can we rule out the
Where
effect
did they get the barley from?
Can we rule out the effect of insurgency and banditry in affecting the production or the growing of these raw materials? Because looking at the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, I want us to link it together. I mean, how insurgency, banditry worsen food prices, and there is a particular writer that says bandits chase away farmers, impose tax in Kaduna. I mean, when you talk about barley, most of this, that barley actually is grown in the northern part of the country. But with this insurgency in place, won't that affect the production of this raw material for the brewing industry?
An agro expert told me live on the program here yesterday that, we should stop hanging all our food insecurity on banditry and insurgency. That it has been subsistence farmers that have sustained us and produced most of the food that we eat. That we don't do mechanized farming. She told me here that in one state, a southwest state, not far from us here, the entire state has only one tractor. Are we serious? Are we actually serious? One state has one tractor.
Then what are the governors doing?
We should ask them.
Reviving agricultural sector.
One tractor in an entire state, 18 local governments. You recall that in this state, about 2017, 18, 19, Oyo State government was trying to buy tractors for local governments. Why? Why do you have to do that? I recall that local governments in this Nigeria had graders, had bulldozers, not to talk of now tractors. They could fix their road, you know. What happened to all of that? What happened to all of that? But the capacity has been taken away. The Town Planning Authority in Ring Road, they had all equipment. They were not an appendage to any commissioner for lands and whatever they call it. They were independent. They didn't get any approval from anybody. But the Metropolitan Authority, you know, used to own it. So what happened to all of that? A whole state having one tractor. She told me she cultivated about 10 hectares of rice. Then she had to hire people, manual laborers. Then she said they were at it for a whole month, and the tractor would have done it in 48 hours. I mean, you imagine, and then the cost of manual labor. You know how much that costs per day now. Even hiring a tractor will be cheaper than hiring manual labor. And look at the length of time. So we are not. Look, we are doing the one they call. We are not doing agriculture. We are doing agriculture. When you add culture to agric, the one we've been doing, hoe and cutlass, back. We're not going to go nowhere. Go to the United States. What percentage of people are farming in Nigeria? Only 3 or 2% of people are in farming in America. Now, anywhere in the world that the population that is involved in farming is more than 15-20%, they are doing agriculture. They are not doing agri.
Okay, now can we now say that the government is not doing enough to at least to revive the agri sector of the economy?
Ask farmers. There are farmers and there are political farmers. Ask any farmer.
Because government will come out, they say they provided this, they did this, they have soft loans for farmers, but we've had farmers on this station coming here to say that those loans are only accessible to political, like, okay.
That's what the farmers call them, political farmers.
Farmers on paper.
On paper. And it is those ones. I mean, how can they want somebody who does not have a farm, knows nothing about farming, get farming inputs? They now sell. To the farmers. And of course, they will put their margin on it. You know, it is, you see, everything should be localized. Everything should, imagine if the governors do not hijack the funds that is supposed to go to the local government, and even statutorily they are to add a percentage of their own state's IGR to what accrues to the local government from the federal allocation account. But rather than even release the normal thing, they hijack everything. Now imagine 170 million going to each local government. I mean, of course they will confidently go to a bank and say, give us facility. You understand? We want to buy 2 tractors. You understand? To be facilitated through the banks and all of that. Then they can pay. You understand? Apart from their statutory allocation that comes to local government from FAC, the federal government also pays a certain percentage of for teacher salary in the primary schools in those local governments. And they are usually inflated. The numbers are inflated. I know because my father headed that agency. The numbers are usually inflated. If they have 5,000 teachers, they will say they have 7 or 8. You understand? They have their ways of, you know. So now, with all these resources, for God's sake, governance. But you see, the challenge is the quality of people. When we had a local government having the likes of Aria Febabala as councillor, what would you expect? The quality of debate, conversation, and then the quality of governance. But when you have people who have no second address, you understand? When they ask them to fill a form, profession, they will say, I'm a politician.
And some people will say one of the factors affecting the decline in the agricultural production in Nigeria is the use of the farmland. Most of the arable farmlands have been turned into estates now.
Well,
and it seems to be
that may not be
trending these days.
That may not be the reality.
But can we remove that?
Believe you me,
it's one of the factors.
Believe you me, honestly. I mean, for God's sake, where are the estates? Where are the estates? Well, I mean, which estate? I mean, for God's sake, the governor is doing 100. This governor of Oyo State is doing 110 kilometers of new road. They can, of course, and of course, they have 500 meters, you know, set back to the right and left. They can do whatever they like there. Oh, go to Ijai. Focus, they go to Okeogun. Go between Ibadan and Oyo and Ogumosho. How many estates do you see on the roadside there? Focus, like there is enough land.
Okay.
But you see, everybody that attends secondary school now is either looking for a job in town or wants to go to. Will you allow your children to farm? Even the farmers don't want their children to farm anymore. Look, it is tedious. It is tedious, physically tedious. All those people that we see, that we used to see in the farms, they say, Baba is very old. Check out, chronologically, it is the physical, tedious nature of their job that makes them old.
Okay, let's move away from that. Let's talk about insecurity. Gunmen abduct 2 journalists, family members in Kaduna. Still on insecurity issue. I mean, people gone are the days when kidnappers will lay you on the road. They are now coming into the houses, attacking houses and taking people away.
You see, we have to realize that kidnapping, banditry, and insurgency has gone beyond, having motives that are altruistic in court. They are now businesses.
It's business, a thriving one.
Now, I mean, somebody was telling me, a security agent was telling me that you don't get kidnapping on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway anymore. What kidnappers now do is those who are branching off, either going to Shagam, going to, that's where they kidnap people now. That means Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, security-wise, is covered. So they know they can't do that. So, you see, I don't know what it costs. I don't even understand all of these. Because the main essence of government is securing lives and property. What does it call? Electronic surveillance. But maybe they are getting their priority. I think it is about getting priorities wrong. What does it take? Governance. But, you see, the state government will put, even the state, you see how much money the state government has invested in security. In the Nigeria police force that does not belong to them. At least on 3 or 4 occasions in the past 5 years, the government of this Oyo state has bought vehicles for not just police, all the security agencies, federal agencies that they have no control whatsoever over them. Now, the commissioner of police, you will now call the commissioner of police. Please deploy to XYZ. This is the report I have and all of that. And the commissioner of police will now start doing interpretations. There are some people involved. You will now call Abuja. Abuja will say stand by. And then, breaches will go on. There are so many things. I don't like saying some things, all these branding people, they are that. You understand? That is blanket branding of people. But that is our reality. Security is local. Politics is local.
Talking about security being our reality now, we are living in a reality where bandits are taking over communities and imposing tax on the residents of these communities unabated.
We talked. I remember that instance.
No one is checking them.
No one is checking them. Look, let me tell you. Even if security agencies, especially the military, you understand, they recover a particular space, you understand? The military cannot occupy that space forever. Number one, they don't have the numerical strength. There are other locations they have to go to. So when the military, combine military and vigilante and all of that, when they secure a location, civil authority and police, they're supposed to move in and provide governance, you understand? Provide governance. We don't have enough of policemen. 500,000 of them, they say we have. Half of that 500,000, they are allocated to securing the political and the business elites in Nigeria, carrying handbags and standing at their gates. You understand?
Holding umbrellas.
And then 1/4 of the remaining 250,000 are doing administrative jobs. So how many men do we really have doing this job? And let me tell you, I have never, even in Benin Republic, policemen, just look at our policemen, how many of them have walkie-talkies? Now, how do you now communicate? You understand? There's a breach. You can identify a security breach. Even if you need to call for reinforcement, will you be dialing your mobile phone before it connects? But if you are walkie-talkie, every policeman must have it. There cannot be network failure on that. It won't dial and start ringing before you pick. The moment you speak, everybody on that base will pick up the information. You understand? And they are immediately on the alert. That is security. But here, that is not good enough. We are not going to, that's not security. We are not going to go anywhere.
You know, some people will ask questions that, I mean, during Okwama crisis in Delta State, we remember how the armed forces, members of the armed forces, invaded that particular community. Now, people now ask questions. Why are we still having communities where bandits are taking over, ruling that place, and imposing taxes on the residents of that place without any action from the same armed forces?
Well, you see, let's go to the northeastern part of Nigeria. There is this particular town, they call it Baga. They are noted for producing a kind of fish. They don't even bring it to Nigeria anymore. They export it via the authority of the bandits and insurgents there. They pay look, it's might is right. You understand? Might is right. If you are here with me and I know you can subdue me, for God's sake, what does it cost me to play along? I mean, you secure me. You understand? The problem is that insurgency is not easy.
No, the funny thing is, even the residents of this community are feeling more secured with the under this bandit.
I have said something about.
They are feeling more secured.
I have said something about the insurgency in the northeast. Why is insurgency thriving in the northeast? Let me tell you, insurgency cannot thrive if the locals are not involved. Believe you me, if the locals are not involved, for a very long time, it was only the northeast, you know, and it continues to thrive. And the northerners, the northwest that holds the master key to the north, they did not intervene. Did you hear any noise from the northwest? But now, of course, another version of it is in their own end. That is economic transaction. The one happening in the northwest that they call banditry is economical. The northerners will not tell us the real thing. It's a clash between the old, and of course, you know, the Hausas owned the land originally. It is a clash between the Hausas and the Fulanis. They are just, but of course, there is an external infiltration now because gold is involved.
Okay, let's move away from that. It's 3 minutes to 10, still on Solutions 93.9 FM. Comrade Ayode Jajishope, where is Yahaya Bello?
We should ask the security agencies.
Is he not becoming the kind of untouchable for the EFCC? Because he seems to be the only first class, in quote, suspect, in quote as well, that is so difficult for EFCC to touch at the moment.
I don't think it's difficult for EFCC.
But do we say that EFCC truly doesn't know where Yahaya Bello is?
I am sure they will have intelligence.
Or they just don't want to.
They will have intelligence. You know, security agencies, they are ubiquitous. They are all over the place. They know. Let me give you an instance. Why is it that any operation where a policeman is killed, the police will swoop in there and get those guys arrested? They know where Yahaya Bello is.
But
certainly. But they are being cautious. You understand? And then, you see, Yahaya Bello is a fugitive. That is the name. That is his name. He is a fugitive. For how long will he run?
Because it's on the front page of the Nation newspaper saying EFCC asks Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria to watch list Bello.
So, that they have intelligence. That tells you they have intelligence. Why did they mention those countries? Why those countries out of all the countries in the world? They have intelligence.
That was why I asked you the question that is someone afraid of arresting?
No. You see, Yahaya Bello will be arrested sooner than later.
When? It seems to be taking too long.
And It's a shameful conduct from Yaya Bello. I thought he called himself a lion.
And interestingly, I mean, or let me say sadly, some people are beginning to lose because I've seen some posts on social media handles that probably EFCC is compromising because they can't tell the whole world that they don't know where Yaya Bello is.
You see, the job of security, you know the courts are already involved.
They've always been involved from day one.
And I want to say this and put it out there. For me, as a citizen, it is looking like our courts or the judiciary aided and enabled, or the bench and the bar enabling each other. They are looking like the most active and present danger to democracy.
Why did you say that?
Because, okay, let me give you the case of Edo.
Okay.
The Federal High Court. We discussed this like and a lawyer and a legal practitioner told us
on Friday
that the people he gave judgment in favor of had
no business.
No business. I mean,
to bring the case forward.
So, I mean, for God's sake, these are difficult things. These things. Okay, imagine the consequences of that. They go to that was High Court or was it High Court or Appeal Court? High Court.
Yeah, High Court.
They go to Appeal Court, and then the case will go to Supreme Court, and we're in July. Elections are in September, and when things start looking shaky and uncertain, people may start deserting that candidate. It happened in Ondo to Jegede. Yes, this same Jimoh Ibrahim took Jegede to court. They were in PDP together. It was about the primaries and all of that. The Supreme Court gave judgment in favor of Jegede only 48 hours to the election. Who will stand with the candidate that we are not sure of his candidature? These are the consequences on the polity. And that is where the judiciary is leading us. So, when the judiciary, there was an injunction, a perpetual injunction granted, Peter Odili, a perpetual injunction. He must not be investigated, he must not be arrested, and that order has not been vacated. I think it has not been vacated. That was the kind of injunction or order that Yaya Bello went for. Well, we are operating under the rule of law. You recall that in the days of the first EFCC chairman, he went to somebody's house. He went to Adenuga's house with an earth-moving equipment to pull down his gate in order to get the man arrested.
I remember the Rochas Okorocha's case too. They had to come through the ceiling.
So I mean,
that's why I'm surprised that why is the case of Yaya Bello different?
You see, I think they were just being civil. And I think it is time the National Assembly starts looking at the immunity that the executive branch members, the governors, the deputies, the president...
But it's no longer the governor. So the immunity must have been stripped off.
Of course, but it wasn't the motorcade of a sitting governor. So that immunity, it has to be limited. If it is criminal, you understand, they have to be stripped of that kind of immunity. If it is civil, you understand, divorce, he did this, if it is a civil matter. But if it is a criminal matter, I mean, they should strip them of immunity from criminal matters.
Okay, let's go to the CBN now. Why CBN insists on another recapitalization? I mean, is this not more burden on the banks? Because recently we had a recapitalization of banks where some bank, I don't want to mention their names now, they couldn't survive. They are working on merger now. Now, the CBN is coming up again with the recapitalization. Is it in the interest of Nigerians, or is it in a bid to make more money like this government is being known for?
You see, in view of the devaluation of the Naira that has occurred, the banks are supposed to be strong financially enough, to support industry. They are not doing much of that. You see, not all these short-term loans, 3-5-year loans, they should be able to give 10-15-year loans to, but look at the rates. For God's sake, most countries of the world, advanced countries are doing single-digit,
interest.
Okay, when you pay interest at 30%, what's your profit margin? What business will you do? Look, contracts are given out at least government level. The margin is they have all these departments that know the cost of every item in the market every day. So the margin they leave is about 30%. So if you now go and borrow money to do a contract and your margin is 30% and then your interest rate is 40%, so you won't even cover your costs, not to talk of making profit. So the banks have to be strong to be able to support industry, support businesses. And if they don't have liquidity, and of course reserves, and then to be able to compete beyond the Nigerian space, you understand? We have to be able to compete. Our banks have to be able to compete on the continental scene and even on the global scene. And the devaluation that has taken place in the past 14 months has weakened the capacity of our banks. But the fact is, to who are those banks giving loans? And at what, rates, monetary policy rates? Of course, that's what rates are going to be giving it out. And what's the tenor of those, if it was a tenor, So they need to strengthen. Look, it's dangerous to have weak financial institutions. It is very, very dangerous. It is better to have, or else the government will have to. You saw what happened when Obama came into office in 2008. They had to bail out those institutions because if the government does not bail them out, the consequences will be grave. So rather than wait, and we avoided it. Soludo, I recall that Soludo did what do they call it, consolidation in 2007. That was what saved Nigeria's banks and economy then, because there was a global recession in 2008, and he had seen ahead and done our own consolidation in 2007.
Okay, comrade, as we wrap up the program, I would like to talk about something that affects you and I. Let me ask you, how much did you buy fuel the last time you bought?
I bought fuel yesterday, and I bought it at was it 650 or 630?
Okay, I bought it last night for 730 in my area.
Yeah.
And on the front page of Punch newspaper this morning, fuel scarcity looms as depots raise petrol price to 720 naira per litre. Filling stations raise petrol price as depots now sell 720 naira per litre, says Ipman. NNPC officials storm Lagos depots, ask marketers to prioritize Abuja. What's happening?
It is so ridiculous when I hear NNPC storms depot. What happened to NNPC depots themselves? You understand? The NNPC depots all over this country.
The country, yeah.
None is functional. Yet they retain staff there. General manager this, manager that. There is a pipeline. There is a company, subsidiary of NNPC. It is called Pipeline. The building is another name now. Pipeline, PPMC. What pipelines? What are they piping? What are in the pipes? Nothing. Yet they have a subsidiary. Now, which depots are selling at 720? Of course, not depots.
I think they're independent marketers.
Of course, they're independent marketer. NNPC is the sole importer of PMS. NNPC sells to only major marketers. That is why you will see that the major marketers still sell at 615, 620, 630. The major marketers. The NNPC outlets, of course, I think they sell at 580. So the major marketers will add some margin. That is why the major marketers are selling at 615.
And that's why we get more queues at such filling stations. But how many people can afford to wait?
It depends on. I have noticed, because I move around from one end of town to the other. I have noticed that some ends of town have long queues, and I've also noticed that some parts of town do not have those long queues. At Total Garden, there is usually a very long queue.
At the NNPC.
Yeah, in fact, there are two there. There's another one towards NTA. The queue is never so long there. Then, at Idiakwe, there's another NNPC station there. The queues are never that long. But when I come to this end, I see very, very long queues. But of course, I think it's the volume of traffic that determines that. So I think there is about $6 billion now dollars that the federal government is owing.
Comrade, why the disparity between the amount the major marketers sell and the independent marketers sell?
Where do you need
600 plus to 700?
NNPC is the sole importer of PMS. This depot that they're referencing get their allocations from NNPC. NNPC is the sole importer. Nobody dares import PMS at the unstable, because you will incur, because government has placed some sort of lead on the pricing. So you now go and import, and then you cannot sell at whatever price you like. You understand? NNPC remains the sole importer.
So why IPMAN or the independent marketers selling at such a high rate?
Okay, I don't like to mention them.
I want you to break it down.
We know the major marketers. You are the IOCs, the major marketers. They get at a certain margin from NNPC. Now, NNPC now supplies the independent depots. All of them are Apapa. They now have their own margin. NNPC can afford, small margins. But those guys are only in business for business. The margin NNPC gives them, they will add their own margin to it. And then, their depots now, they're in business. They will add their margin. When they add their margin, then they will give to, the independent marketers, who also will add their own costs and margin. So that is it. So you buy if you can afford to buy. Many are not buying now because they cannot afford to buy. You see, your location will determine whether you're able to buy. If you're in a remote place and people don't have options, where people have options, you understand? If I want to buy 10 liters or 20 liters, I may probably buy, 650. But if I want to fill my tank, I want to buy 60 liters, I'm going to buy 70 liters. Of course, I will, time into, I'll know where I'll go to NNPC. And of course, there will be some margin of probably 4,000 or 5,000 if I'm going to be buying 70 liters. So, but if you're going to be buying 10 liters, of course, the differential would not be much.
All right, it's about time for us
to... NNPC, what do you call them? The Porako 1 and 2 and Dangote.
Okay, well, I would have loved us to talk about that, but because of the time, because very soon Victory Onyedikachi will be joining us for the Solutions Clinic today. I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Comrade Ayodeji Adesope, for being a part of the program this morning.
My pleasure always, Comrade brother.
And can I wish you a happy holiday, though you're at work?
Happy holidays, yeah. Happy holidays to the Muslim faithful.
Okay, and happy holiday at work. And to every one of us at work at the moment, those of us on essential duties at the moment. My name is Adi Damola. Laughing, we'll be back again same time tomorrow morning for a fresh edition of AM Update, starting off with Kickoff Sport with Youngster Kanad Oladapo Okunobi. Then we move into from the Daily segment where we get to take you through the trending stories in the newspapers. Good morning and wishing you happy holiday.
That's the sound of a baby cry. Ike ọmọ tuntun jòjòló tó wáyé. Níbo ló ti wá, ọmọ lè sí ewa. Abẹ́kẹ́ gave birth to a baby boy. Ọmọ tuntun wọlé, èmi la ò ní yọ sí. Ẹ kú ewu ọmọ ọ̀run àdá sí. A good looking baby, indeed. Can talk on ìjọ ọlọ́mọ fọ́mọ. Wọ́n náà mọ̀ tá a bí a lọ́wọ́ rí lẹ́yìn. Láàrin iwájú ni kò máa ní rẹ̀yìn. Kódà ẹja porúkọ rẹ̀ ní Fatai. Now say Fatai in the study.